Hey everybody, glasses up. Let's do some drinking and talking about books.
Yeah!
What's up everyone? Oh man, we are back.
Mm-hmm.
Still sipping on the Buffalo Trace. It's as good as it was last week. Today we're talking about an ebook that you may not have heard of called You Have Too Much Shit. I was linked to this by somebody, I don't even remember who.
How did you find this?
It was on like some blog site I go to, and the title drew me in.
Right.
I downloaded the PDF, and probably one of the better books that took me less than 8 minutes to read. Maybe in my top 10 of less than 8 minute
But
reads.
can we call it a book if it doesn't even take 10 minutes to read?
PDF? Or
Yeah, let's
a mini
slideshow?
book.
Yeah.
We'll define book on our next show.
Pamphlet.
Right, society will leave defining books up to us.
Speaking of what society defines, this book defines a lot of the
good
shit
segue,
that we
yeah.
have. We all have that. Basically, this book's exactly what it sounds like. You have too much shit, meaning you've got too much stuff. And that runs the gamut from, you talk about all the free giveaways you get at conferences, to the stuff that you've forgotten that you even have, to the stuff that's in the closet in a box. What were your thoughts on this? There's so much to talk about in this short little book.
I loved it. This has kind of been my life mantra for about the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of pissed that somebody else got to writing this 9-page book ahead of me. So a little bit of background. I have 4 kids. So me and my wife, 4 kids, family of 6. We have lived in, when my 4th child was born, we were living in a place that was a little under 300 square feet. Then we upgraded. We spent the next 4 years living in about 900 square feet, all 6 of us. And now we're residing in something like 700 square feet. So we've always lived in small places, and I've just been like a big believer in throwing stuff away. My wife calls them my rampages. I'll just start throwing stuff away. When my kids see it, they'll start to take stuff and like hide it, like shove it under the bed that they want to keep. But I'm a big believer in like, there's almost nothing. There's so few things that you cannot throw away and be happy about a month later.
Grandma didn't need that oxygen tank. It had to go. Taking up space.
There's a few things you need to hold on to.
Right.
What were your thoughts on the shit movement, so to speak?
You know what?
I'm the founder of the shit movement.
Right.
So not only am I a member of the shit
You're
movement, I'm
the
also
founder.
yeah.
I believe that. No, when I moved out of my last place and moved to the place I'm at now, I had 10 years worth of stuff that I had accumulated. But I was going from an 1,100 square foot apartment, 2-bedroom, to a 900 square foot 1-bedroom. And it was just, I had so much crap that I had accumulated over those years. Clothes, magazines, gadgets, stuff that I didn't even look at anymore. And it was just ridiculous. DVDs, CDs, music I don't listen to, It was insane, and I've been living there almost 3 years, and I'm still like going through boxes and getting rid of stuff. I'm like, this is just insane. But I'm starting to adopt more of like a minimalist attitude in my life anyway before I read this book. And I think you're right. You can live fine if you live simply with all the rest, without all of that other nonsense. Just get rid of some of that stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you what got me started on this track. When my wife and I first got married, we had so much shit. We shared a house with another married couple. None of us had any kids, so it was 4 people living in a pretty nice sized house, 4-bedroom house, 2-bathroom, and we had taken like half of the garage with all of our just shit.
Right.
We also had a huge storage unit with more shit. And then we had stuff that was at my wife's mother's house in her garage, taking up space. And then we moved into an apartment all by ourselves. And it was a small apartment. At that point, I think we were probably living in, it was about 1,100 square feet or something. And I built in all these bookshelves and just all these creative storage solutions, hanging pots and pans. And what happened is that our apartment just got more crowded. that the amount of shit that we had grew to fill all of the space we had, plus a little bit more, so that we had to build more storage solutions and buy more storage bins.
Right.
And finally, I realized this is crazy. And then I just went on a huge purge and was like, "There's nothing I can't lose." And in fact, probably about close to a year ago, we were moving, and I had a plastic storage bin, and it had all my high school football stuff. And I was on a really good high school football team, and that was a huge part of my life. My Letterman jacket was in there, like my memory scrapbook that had all the times my name was in the paper. And I had saved one of every shirt throughout my freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year that I had not worn. So anytime there was a football shirt, I bought one to wear, and I bought one to store. And I had saved all of this sentimental stuff. I saved my cleats, my wristbands. Anyway, this huge box full of all of this sentimental stuff that I thought one day I would share with my children. And anyway, it got stolen out of our back alley. And when it got stolen, I thought, it's the second most sentimental thing that could be taken from me. And I was like, I'm okay. I enjoyed that part of my life, playing football in high school, but I don't need the box of stuff. I don't need the Letterman's jacket from 1995. I'm good. And for me, that was like a huge, like, yeah, I don't need any stuff to live. As long as I've got one set of clothes, enough food, a decent bed to sleep in, I'm good.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know what? I have, being that I just got out of the military last year.
I thought you said you just got out of jail.
No,
or rehab, it could go either way.
Well, yeah. I just got out. No. And just getting out, I still have all of my uniforms, boots, all that kind of stuff. And I have this whole sentimental thing, too. Kind of like, I did this for 20 years, and do I want to keep the memory or whatever. And I'm just like, nobody's going to remember my military career. This isn't going to go in a museum somewhere. Nobody needs this crap.
The only thing that's going to survive you is your Medal of Honor. And then,
right, yeah, that's going to happen.
Make sure you hold on to that one.
Yeah, my 3 silver stars from being in the rear when you guys are deployed.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, my grandfather, he was in the Army in World War II and that kind of thing. And I think he had, like, one fatigue jacket that he had left over, from the war. But he didn't care at all. He just let me wear it around, tear it up, all that kind of stuff. He was just like, get rid of it. It was a part of my life. It's done. And so now I'm thinking, no, maybe I probably need to go through my closets and just, that was a part of my life. Just take it down to Goodwill. Somebody wants to have a bunch of old military uniforms, let them have it,
Yeah, it's a weird. So the book talks about how there's some things that are okay to keep, especially some of the sentimental stuff. Cards or maybe something that has some meaning to you. But for me, I found a lot of the stuff that I had always required one extra step. So like I have 2 or 3 old computers that were given to me that I used for a little bit that I was planning on selling, but didn't. Blah 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 blah. Well, there's data on hard drives, so it requires me either turning on the computer, removing the data, or removing the hard drive altogether. And so my brain goes, that's 18 minutes worth of work. I can't deal with that right now. It can just stay in the closet and I'll get to it later. And I feel like the majority of stuff that kind of lingers around in my life is that kind of like, oh, well, I was going to throw that box away, but you know what? I could sell that one thing for $18. Like, this could net me some money. I could buy 2 movie tickets for the value of what's in this box.
Right.
It's weird. I was thinking about you expand to whatever space you're in, and me and Melanie have lived in, my wife have lived in, small, and then the place we're in now is much bigger, but I don't know why it's human nature. We fill up whatever space we're in. You could be living in a single room that's like the size of a closet, but fill it up.
Right.
Move it somewhere bigger,
right.
Fill that space up.
And the funny thing is that coming from a military background, both of us know about living in a very minimal way. You have your bunk, you have your wall locker, and that's it. You don't have a whole lot of space for anything else. But yeah, like when we go home, it's just we're filling up all of that empty space. I
feel like even in the military, sometimes our extra gear, it's like, what do you need this shit for? This is this is too much.
Right. It's like that scene, that scene in Platoon where Charlie Sheen meets Willem Dafoe's character. And they're about to go, and they're about to go on the night patrol. And he's like, get rid of this. What do you need this? He's pulling out his flashlight. He's throwing that out, all this extra garbage that he got in basic training. He's like, come on now, get rid of all that crap.
Water and bullets, that's all you really need.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so that's in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
He lives in Beverly Hills.
Straight out of
Right.
Beverly Hills. Straight out of Beverly Hills.
Right. Adjacent.
So I guess is there one thing after reading this book that you feel like you could get rid of this week? And this is a little bit tough. I'm putting you on a spot. For me, I'm going to try to get rid of one of those computers this week. There's 3 in my closet. Even if it just means I yank out the hard drive and let that sit for another day, taking up this much space versus this much space is still it's a net win.
Right.
Because I don't think this is kind of a you got to win the battle. You're not going to win this war. This is a long, tedious. Is there anything you guys can think of to get rid of this week?
You know what? I have my dress blue uniform from the Army, and it's just hanging there, and I don't even think I can fit it anymore. So, and I still have the old classic green, the OD green.
I don't know if I could get rid of either one of those.
So maybe I'll
You're
just
stronger men than me.
well, the OD green, I don't care. I mean, you know, whatever. So maybe the OD green, maybe that'll be my.
Wait, you're talking about the dress greens?
Yeah. You know.
Man, those things look sharp.
No.
Okay, I don't want to challenge you. Go ahead.
No,
It doesn't mean a lot to you.
we'll log on to GQ.com after we're done here. And I'll explain fashion to you.
So that's your one thing.
That's my one thing. Will be that green uniform. I'll get rid of that
We
one.
will follow up on a future episode. So what's your one thing?
Okay, I joined the Army to wear that dress green uniform, so
Oh.
yeah, so I'm not with them on this one.
Expectations.
You know, I have a lot of kids. I could get rid of at least one of them.
Oh my gosh.
No, you know,
The least productive one.
I wouldn't have thought his head and said it, but it's been nagging at me. I have too many shirts, and all of my shirts suck. They're cheap and stained and ripped or whatever. So why do I need 20 of them? Like 3 or 4 will do. So I'm gonna throw away a bunch of shirts this week.
All right.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll throw away, give them away to the Goodwill.
yeah. The clothes thing is weird because it takes up such a minimal part of your closet. Like removing one shirt won't make a difference, but it's also I think because of that you don't recognize that. You know, all of us I'm sure have. I got a bunch of old work clothes that I don't even fit in anymore.
Right.
Just sitting there. Maybe I'll wear it again someday. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, so you
It's
know,
like,
go ahead.
no, I'm saying I got a couple suits that
Yeah.
are like from the 90s. I'm like, this is like gabardine. I don't think they even make this material anymore. But for some reason, I'm just like holding on to it.
Maybe
You know?
someday.
Maybe Dance Fever will come back on the air. You
We'll
know?
include pictures of Aaron in his suits in the show notes.
We gotta find that. Oh man.
So I was going to say, last week I listened to this podcast, and they took a kind of a tangent talking about fashion and beauty. Not a topic I normally listen to. I just want to make sure that all my brothers understand that. One of the things that the lady who was talked about is buying fewer but really good quality clothes. I've always bought fewer but really cheap quality clothes. But I'm always cycling over jeans. I tend to just, whatever I find, whatever somebody gives me, or I find at a thrift store, and I don't know, whatever my wife brings home and says, these are your jeans, yeah. Acid wash, yeah. But she made a really good case for buying an expensive pair of good quality jeans because they'll last a long time. And I was like, I've never spent much money on clothes, but I think that this is the case for buying some well-made clothes with good stitching and good, not cheap fabric.
Right. Well, I think that if you get decent suits, they don't ever go out of style. If you can get, if you watch like Mad Men and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of the suits that they wear,
you can wear now.
And that's one of the things. I got in a discussion with a guy down in L.A. on Los Angeles Street. I was buying a couple of new suits, and he was saying that a lot of times the people from the prop department or the clothing department will come to those stores, and what they do for like Mad Men is they buy suits now, but they just tailor them to that era, with the shorter pants, the tighter fit, that kind of thing. But if you buy like a couple of decent suits and just, you can keep them around for years.
I have one suit, black suit. I've
Very
had it for over 10 years. Yeah, they're very in it.
Yeah, classic black suit. I would say I echo that thought on the quality stuff. I had a friend that told me that once, because I was buying his cheap stuff. My backpack was cheap, jacket was cheap, all my equipment was cheap. And he said, if it's something you're going to use regularly, buy the expensive ones. That buy once, cry once. And
Mhm.
there are certain things where you don't need to buy the most expensive thing. When it comes to alcohol for you guys, I just try to get
Oh,
but-
jeez.
no. But
delicious.
cheap stuff. Yeah.
My throat.
I buy the bottle on Craigslist and then I go get the cheap stuff. But I do have a couple of things that are expensive. I have a very expensive backpack that is bomb-proof, and I know that my grandkids can probably use the same backpack. But I think it's a lot of stuff that if you're going to use it, especially clothes, you're going to wear them day in, day out. And if you have less of them, just get the better one. I think very few times have I regretted buying something higher quality.
Mhm.
I've regretted buying the cheap thing many times because it's broken on me. It usually breaks when you need it most, like that cheap tool. I'm sure you probably had this experience with tools.
Yeah, I'm far enough along in my handyman career to understand that buying good tools makes sense.
Right.
Because they're like drills. I bought like 4 cheap drills before I was like, okay, I understand why I should buy one drill and keep it for the rest of my
Right,
life.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't buy tools from the 99-cent store that are made in China.
I've done
Harbor
that
Freight
because-
tools.
Yeah.
No, now Harbor Freight does have some decent tools. There's some things where if you're not a contractor and you're not going to use it frequently, it doesn't make sense to buy the
Yeah.
nicest tool.
Right. But I've had some where, like the flathead screwdriver.
Yeah, and
Where you go in
you
and
turn
turn
it
the
and the
screw
metal
and
bends.
bends.
I bought the 99 I know exactly what you're talking
exactly.
about.
And then you see the silver paint come off.
Flake off, yeah.
And it's like, this is pot metal.
No, it's plastic painted to look like
Right,
metal.
Right,
You
right.
feel strong afterwards. Though. You're like,
Exactly.
I just want power on this thing.
Right,
Twist it.
right.
Yeah. So would you recommend people read this 8.5-page book about shit?
Yeah, I think everybody should be forced to read this before they get a credit card. I don't know, maybe
Ooh.
before college.
Okay. All right.
Right, right. Yeah, I definitely would recommend it. I mean, I think here in today's world, we're taught wrong. We're taught to accumulate things.
Mhm.
We're not, taught to just be frugal, save your money, have the necessities, and leave it at that. So I think this was kind of an eye opener. I mean, it's short and that kind of thing, but even in its brevity, it was still kind of eye opening to do I really need all of this?
Yeah, this is free. I don't see any reason why you shouldn't read it. You can read this, in probably about 10 minutes. It's quick. It gets right to the point. And there's, I think, a good reminder that we don't need this much stuff. We all have so much damn stuff. Thank you so much, guys. We'll be back. More great episodes very soon. Cheers.